All right, guys, what is going on? Reed Orlando, aka Reed SPN, the man behind the sticker, the man behind the fastest growing Instagram page in the world. Totally kidding about that. We have 275 followers. Like to get more, but it's not happening right now. But anyways, I had some free time. I just got back from the gym, got a bunch of work done today. I figured I'd just do a quick little, I don't know, informative podcast on what's going on in the world of combat sports and specifically MMA. First things first, let's start off with boxing. So Deontay Wilder is fighting. I can't even remember his name, but he's fighting someone, and he's fighting under the Showtime banner. This comes after Dazin offered him a $100 million deal and a fight with Anthony Joshua to really see who is the best heavyweight in the world, or who arguably is the best heavyweight in the world, because Tyson Fury, they had that, what was it, a draw against Wilder, and he never fought Anthony Joshua. But anyways, he turned that down, and I am disappointed in him. I'm just disappointed in the whole situation. We have three of the best heavyweight boxers in the world. These are three of the best heavyweight boxers we've had in a very long time. And guess what? They're not going to be fighting against each other for a very long time, if they ever even fight. Because guess what? They could cross-promote, but I doubt that happens. It doesn't really happen with MMA, and I sure as fuck don't think it's going to happen with boxing. But pretty much what's happening is Tyson Fury signed with the ESPN deal. Deontay Wilder's with Showtime, and Anthony Joshua's with DAZN. So it's looking like we're not going to see those three fight. It's definitely upsetting. This really is I'd say from the time I've been alive, the golden age for heavyweight boxing. Not the 90s, don't get me mistaken. It's nothing like the 90s, but this is the most competitive heavyweight boxing has been in a long time, with Luis Ortiz and all those other killers there, like I named before. So definitely upsetting. But now let's move over to MMA. Now, TJ Dillashaw just tested positive for somewhat of a banned substance, and he is suspended for a year, and he just relinquished his belt in a heartfelt Instagram post. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, TJ cheated. Cody was right. Cody said at a press conference one time that TJ was showing people at Team Alpha Male how to properly do steroids. And then Joe Soto, which was TJ Dillashaw's first ever title defense, which I believe he was training at Team Alpha Male a month prior to that fight. He said that teammates of TJ were saying that TJ was juicing, and then he also said that when he fought him, he felt different. Now, here's my side of all this. I don't think TJ Dillashaw has done steroids. I do not believe it. He has never tested positive once. With all the USADA and badness that's going on right now, I just don't think he took steroids. What I do think happened was, I think that him trying to get to 125 pounds was a horrible, horrible cut for him. And I think he was just taking all sorts of supplements, trying to trim that fat any way he can to try to make weight like a true professional. So I think he took a supplement or a couple of supplements that were not approved by USADA and are not on that list of approved supplements for you to take. And I think that something came up in his system. He is suspended for an official year, retroactive suspension. So whenever his last fight with Cejudo was, I believe that was January, late January, maybe beginning of February. But that, he's suspended for a year, relinquished the belt. Now, here's the thing. This benefits Marlon Moraes in a sense, because he was kind of sitting there in no man's land trying to figure out what's going on with TJ and Cejudo. Now I think the fight to really make is him versus Pedro Munoz, since Munoz is coming off that huge win over Cody Garbrandt. I think that's definitely the fight to make now. And let's see Henry Cejudo defend the belt at 125 pounds, a.k.a. flyweight. Let's see him defend it against Joe Benavidez, who Joe Benavidez already beat in a split decision. I'd like to see that fight again. It was a very competitive fight. And let's see how both these divisions play out. There's no need to hold up these divisions for any longer now that TJ's suspended. I'm pulling for TJ, though. He's one of my favorite fighters, and he's a good guy, and I don't think he took steroids. Now, in other news, Dana White signed a 7-year deal to remain the president of the UFC. That's big. It's just good to have consistency in the front office of the UFC. Like it or not, Dana White tells it like it is. You may not like what he says, and believe me, I don't like half the shit he says sometimes. But the bottom line is this: he is a staple of the UFC. He's the front man of the UFC, and it'd be weird without Dana White as the president. I mean, what president? I don't know. I don't even know who could be the president of the UFC. Maybe another fighter, like what they're doing with ONE FC with Rich Franklin as the president, Matt Hume, Misha Tate over there. But I like that Dana White's still going to be the president. It brings consistency in the UFC. Now, in other UFC-related news, the UFC is exclusively doing their pay-per-views either on ESPN Plus or on UFC Fight Pass, so you have to subscribe to either one. Now, in my opinion, I think that you should drop the UFC Fight Pass account unless you're doing research like me and you need to watch all those old fights. But ESPN Plus is putting their fights on that have been since the ESPN deal on their ESPN app, ESPN Plus app. So you can get most of the fights through that way, or you could look at it illegally. But the $5 a month is good, and you're going to get a lot out of it. What I would like the UFC to do is I would like them to have some sort of a thing where if you are an ESPN Plus subscriber, maybe they raise that to about $10 or $15, and then you just pay like $20 for the pay-per-view or whatever it is if you're subscribed to ESPN Plus. I think that's the move. I think we're moving away from the pay-per-view model just because it's dying in a way. You maybe get 1 or 2 fights a year that are really pay-per-view material and that'll break over 500,000 buys. I think there was only 1 or 2 this year. Maybe Stipe and DC broke over 500,000. I know for a fact Conor and Khabib did. So we'll see what happens there. Now, in other news, Donald Cowboy Cerrone is not fighting Conor McGregor. He is fighting Al Iaquinta in Fight Night Ottawa, I believe. Now, that is a good fight. Very excited for that fight. Great matchup, in all honesty. But I'm upset because, you know what? Conor McGregor versus Cowboy is a fight that I was looking forward to. And mind you, I am not a big Conor dick rider at all. Never got into this sport for Conor McGregor. Been got into it when I was like 11 years old. Maybe even earlier than that, honestly. But I just never really... I never really understood the love for Conor necessarily, but here's my whole thing. I think that Conor's brought a lot of eyes onto this sport. I think he's done a lot for the sport in terms of growth and in terms of just people watching it overall, and I think that he rightfully deserves to be a main event for a pay-per-view card, and I think it benefits the UFC if they did that. Now, the last time the UFC did a non-title fight for a pay-per-view event was when Conor McGregor fought Nate Diaz that second time. So that fight actually even broke, I believe it was 1.4 million buys, which at the time was the highest grossing pay-per-view sale for the UFC in the history of the promotion. Conor and Khabib broke that one by a long shot, but still, at the time, it was the highest grossing pay-per-view sale of all time for the UFC. So I think that what they should have done is they should have had Cowboy and McGregor as a main event, and they could have had a co-main event, which was a title fight, because if you remember correctly, when Conor fought Nate the second time, the co-main event was Holly Holm and Miesha Tate, and that was an awesome intro into that fight. It got everyone excited. I just don't think that you necessarily need a title fight to make it a main event pay-per-view card. You know what I mean? So definitely a bummer there. We'll see what's next for Conor. I couldn't even give you a name out there who he might be fighting next. Everyone at lightweight is pretty much all filled up. So we'll see what happens. But in other news, Luke Rockhold is moving up to light heavyweight to challenge Jan Blachowicz, who is currently number 6, I believe. So that's his first fight in the light heavyweight division, Luke Rockhold. There was a lot of speculation about him moving up to light heavyweight. There was a lot of speculation of him fighting Thiago Santos or him fighting Alexander Gustafsson. But now we know exactly who he is fighting. Definitely excited for his debut at light heavyweight. And he's getting thrown right into the mix. Jan Blachowicz is no joke. He's a top 6 competitor. And he's a real gatekeeper into the top 5 of that division. I mean, I believe a couple of months ago, before his last loss to Thiago Santos, I believe he was ranked number 3 at light heavyweight. So Jan Blachowicz is no joke. And I think it's going to be a really good fight. If Luke Rockhold's able to pass this test, then we'll see what's next for him. Maybe a fight with Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes said he did want another fight before he fought John Jones, maybe 2. So we'll see how that plays out. Or do we never know what's going on with Johnny Walker? I don't think they're going to throw him Dominic Reyes yet or anyone in the top 5 of that division, but you never know what's going to happen. So Luke Rockhold's moving up to light heavyweight. Big news. Now, Kevin Lee is also fighting Rafael Dos Anjos. He's moving up to welterweight to challenge him at UFC Rochester. It's not every day Rochester gets blessed. I mean, you guys don't have good pizza. You guys have those garbage plates, which are garbage, to say the least. I'm sorry. I know hate for Rochester. Your food is just garbage, though. However, that is a really good fight. Now, it's really, I don't know, it's kind of a lose-lose for Rafael Dos Anjos because he's challenging a guy who's not ranked in the welterweight division, who's moving up from lightweight, who's currently at like number 7 right now. But it's a if Kevin Lee's able to win, it's a huge, huge win for him, and it propels him into the top 5 of that division right away because Rafael Dos Anjos currently sits at number 4. So that is a really good fight. Kevin Lee can get thrown right into the mix at 170 pounds. And I think it's good for Kevin Lee because he had a lot of trouble making that weight at 155 pounds. And I think it's just a fresh start for him after that last loss to Al Iaquinta. So definitely excited for that one. We'll see what happens there. And I know I'm missing something else, and it's going to bug me. Cowboy, TJ, Ally Quinta. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, and other news, ACC MMA, June 1st. This is the amateur mixed martial arts promotion that I work for. I help inspect. I actually had my internship with Tom Kilkenny. Big shout out to Tom Kilkenny, who is the promoter of the event, with Eugene Perez. Big shout out to Eugene, too. Love both of those guys. Great people. Definitely got to check out the card, because guess what? These amateur promotions, especially ACC, which is the premier mixed martial arts organization in New York, amateur organization, and guess what? You'll see a lot of young stars coming out of there. There's a lot of people that are Tiger Schulman's guys down in the city that are super high level. Just a lot of high-level fighters in general. We got a lot of jungle gym guys, and a lot of them could potentially be stars in the UFC or any other main organization. So if you're a fan of MMA like me, you got to support these amateur organizations, especially high-level ones like ACC. I've been to a couple of other amateur promotions in New York. None of them compare to ACC. The venue is fantastic. The White Plains Westchester County Center is amazing. It always usually fills out. So if you're looking for more information on it, go to accmma.com or just message me at SPN, and I'll get you in contact with someone that'll know the answers, or I'll find it out for you. Thank you for listening, guys. I really appreciate this, and thank you for your support of Read SPN. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.